Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural divine heirs. Today is February the 19th, 1442 on the ancient moon calendar, 1443 on the ancient sun calendar, and 2023 on the Greco-Roman calendar. All rise and stand and remain standing into perpetuity. This is a sovereign, living, ancient Article 3 Moorish American Al-Moroccan Universal Court action. We are the sovereign living justice. I am Pauline Denise Ritchie. My free chosen sovereign appellation is like tajiri bay. All are in capitis diminution nolo. In red ink, in propria persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. All Moors are the original indigenous, sovereign, ancient Al-Moroccan, Moorish American ascendants of the great pharaohs of Kemet and of the ancient Moabites and Canaanites. Our full faith and trust, our allegiance, our credit, our energy are hereby vested in ourselves, for we are the people who are the original indigenous, natural divine, sovereign, ancient empire state for Morocco. We're the de jure Moorish National Republic federal government. We are ancient Washington District for Columbia. We are the Universal Moorish American Consulate and the Article 3 Moorish American Consular Court. Today we are executing and exercising the law by our sovereign status, which is the original indigenous, natural divine, sovereign, ancient Article 3 living United States District for Columbia Court. And we are the sovereign fiduciaries, creditors, executors, trustees, ministers, possessors, and titled beneficiaries in this cause for action. We are peace, we are one nation, one state, one empire, and one God. We hereby recognize ourselves and accept our sovereign ascension. We issue a universal creditor's bill for possession and custody over all judgment debtors. We exercise all sovereign rights at this time and at all points in time, nunc pro tunc. Okay, let's add a little something in there. So, let's see. So, please take a moment with the State of the Original Indigenous Union address Thursday, February 23rd at 7 p.m. Eastern, which is the regular time for our congressional assemblies. And the title for the State of the Original Indigenous Union address is We the Republic Are Risen. The dial-in information is the same as usual, which is the same as this meeting, 425-436-6280, access code 368903, free conference call video ID, Light Bay Moorish Nation 1. Video access is the same. And also, I will say this, that all presidents who choose to state the progress we have made and their vision for our nation government, please put a 1 to 3 minute statement together to present on that day. I'm going to make a presentment, and then any others who choose to, will open the table, and any other presidents who choose to make a presentment at that time can do so. I know that that is not what usually is done. However, we are all sovereign, and we can do this however we choose to do it. Okay? So with that being stated, just one moment. So with that being stated, just one moment. I'm going to open the floor for just a moment, the table for just a moment. just one moment. I want to clear the Justice Michael Dumois McGee. If you could please unmute and just give a quick Islam so that I can know which one is you. Are you there?
Islam.
Okay.
I'm on 2 laptops.
Okay, great. Hopefully, are you still able to see on your other laptop, as well?
Islam.
Huh? Okay, great. That means I got the right one. Okay, so with that being stated, we hereby state for the record our eternal termination of all dead, foreign, previously presumed United States Corporation Company contracts. We rebut all previously presumed foreign dead claims. We proclaim wisdom, peace, love, truth, freedom, justice, prosperity, abundance, healing, and wealth for our nation. Islam. Every now and then, as we're demonstrating,
how come you haven't terminated your internet contract, Pauline?
We generally put on the public record. Oh, excuse me. We generally put on the public record a termination of all corporate contracts just to ensure, and just to restate and continue to restate and re-invoke jurisdiction. Not that we left our jurisdiction, but we just, for the record, put it out there. Islam. So I wanted to clarify briefly before the Empresses take control of take over and do what they need to do before they do what they need to do. I want to clarify some things because I was speaking with one of the Moors who is very astute, very intelligent, has done some amazing things in the previous corporate arena. And I want to point these out because it appears that even the most astute of us are clarifying the difference between private, public, and corporate, and in capitis, diminuentio, minima, media, and maxima. Okay, that's where the capital letters come in at. So I just want to state for the record that private, public, and corporate in all lowercase letters is generic. Generic does not mean what we thought it meant. In the previous era, we thought that generic meant, nondescript, etc. Generic means of a stated gene. Okay, that's what generic means, is all of the same gene. Okay, and that's why when we say things are in all lowercase letters, that means that all genes come from us, and that is universal. Okay. Now, in all lowercase letters, and we're the sovereigns, we know that. We've had, there are 3 classifications: private, public, and corporate in that high dimension. That is the highest dimension aside from us just being in the spirit realm 100%, which we are still too also. But in this dimension that we're at, private, public, and corporate also can be all 3 in all lowercase letters. And that would be like all of us coming together and off the record just saying, hey, you all, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do this, this, and this. And then we do that without any foreign or corporate or attempts at legislation or
Why don't you show your followers this stuff works?
Regulation of any kind. Regulation. Okay, so no legislation and no regulation. Okay, that's what in all lowercase letters is all about. That means that we are the sovereign authority for all that we do. And then when you put it in, that is not the same as private, public, and corporate in capitis, diminuntio, minima, which means the first letter capitalized. When you do private, public, and corporate in capitis, diminuntio, minima, that means that it's between the people. It's truly and purely public. It's innerstood, it's written, published, and accepted and agreed to by the majority or by all. And as people, we do that. We just agree together and we say, this is what we're going to do, and then we do it. That is optimal when you're talking about the three categories. Optimally, we would be operating here once we have stated that we're the sovereigns and that we've all agreed to operate here in private, public, and corporate in capitis, diminuntio, minima. Now, let me say this about the next category. The next category is private, public, and corporate in all capital letters is all the same, really. It's really all the same because it's all corporate. Just like in capitis, diminuntio, minima, all of those three with the first letter capitalized is actually technically the people speaking. Whether it be one people speaking to another people and contracting with another people, or doing something national and the people deciding on a national scale that they're going to do things, okay? We can even do commerce as the people in capitis, diminuntio, minima, which is actually where we're going as a nation, okay? But we needed to properly state the all caps. And we can use all caps if we want to use all caps and have a corporate tool that we use, because the all caps is not us, it's a tool. And so the reason I'm clarifying these is because these three, and it's really these nine categories in colonialism, because we have complete control of them, all nine. That's what the fiduciary document does. That's what it says. That's what it's about, is taking control of our own letters patent and saying, okay, together we're all going to do this together. We're going to govern our resources. We're going to erudite our heirs. We're going to, if there's any industry that's going to go on, we're going to govern it. Okay? Now, we have already put an end to colonialism by the decisions that we make. We're already free by the decisions that we make. The decisions that we make and the actions that we take will determine whether we know we're free or not. And we do know that. See, when we govern like what we're doing right now, these actions are the statement and the demonstration that we're free. Because we're already governing. We're not waiting for anyone to permit us to do that. That wouldn't be government. We're just doing it. We've agreed to come together to do this. That is government. And it does not matter that we cannot see the projection of thousands of people. And I put it that way for a reason, because it is thousands of people. And I'd stretch that out a little bit too, because I can see in the spirit realm, in the future, in the past, etc. And we all can. when we tune into that. So with that being stated, colonialism is over. Fraudulent capitalism is over. All of that is done. All we have to do is, when we see things that attempt to manifest that way, just address it. Address it. We went over the word address last time. Address it means exercise Article 3 dominion over it. And then it's done. It's a wrap. And, you know, right now all we're doing is exercising Article 3 dominion over everything, everything that has to do with us and our state and this earth. And so knowing these principles and knowing the difference here between these three, these 9 really, is very important. Did you know that there have been a minimum of 9 constitutions, quote unquote, written in each one of these formats? 9 written in each one of these formats. We wrote these. We gave this one to the subjects when they came, and then as corporations began to manifest, constitutions were applied in this manner. Okay? We, again, have dominion over all. So it matters not how they wrote them, because letters patent belong to the heirs. In capitis, diminutive, or this private, public, and corporate, all capitalized. Okay. Now again, we have to do a court action on the dead. All of this stuff with the dead piece, because the dead corpses did all capitalized things too. Okay, and attempted to replace this. Replace our sovereignty and also replace us as a nation. That was an attempt. It never happened because it can't happen. But we have to state on the record that we have terminated all of their fakery. All capitalized, and this is when the proper fiduciary is there. It is negotiated. It must be written. It's governed by our courts, etc. Now, the all capitalized is industry. Okay, that's industry. Whereas in capitis diminuntio minima is when we come together and we say, hey, we're going to go out on the land and get the resources that we need. We're going to build our living spaces. We're going to do these things, but we're not doing it from a commercial standpoint. We're doing it for our nation. That's what national, public, and even national corporate actions are about. Is we get our doing things for our government, making sure that our government buildings are well maintained, and all of that. That's done by the people. When you think in capitis diminuntio minima, think the people. This is the people. And then the people can use the all caps that we have properly proclaimed, okay? And we know what that looks like. That's a lien on the dead corpses, all caps, because the dead corpses had an all caps that they created. That's not ours. That's theirs. They let the dead bury the dead. So we do away with their stuff, and then produce and generate and originate and birth our own. So all of our corporate things are originated on the land by us. If we didn't write it or create that document or whatever the foundational document is for that business or that commercial venture or that exchange, then it's not ours. We don't deal with it. We only deal with what we create and we go from there. Because that way we know that it was birthed by us and it originated with us. Okay. So, this video right here, I'm going to put this video, the link to this video in the chat so that you all can look at this video because I found it very interesting. It did show the process. In the first 5 minutes of the video, it shows the process by which our government gains or gets, for example, the technology that we're going to be generating and originating and improving on and doing things with. That technology for conveyances and all of that, the first 5 or 10 minutes of this video shows how the government confiscates that and gets it and pulls it from wherever we need to pull it, from wherever we desire to pull it from. Because remember, the last couple of the last couple of congressional assemblies that we put on the public record in video format, we talked about the conveyances and the older Model Ts and Oldsmobiles and Cadillacs from way back in the day that still work today. That planned obsolescence was not built into the machinery. That was our original technology, and we're going to start there and build forward so that we have all that our nation desires. So this video right here, the first 5 minutes, is it made everything so clear. We were clear about how to access the technology. This video actually showed them accessing the technology from the showroom floor, going in and just confiscating the technology and then testing it out and then improving upon it. So, are there any questions, comments? Oh, it's muted. Great. Any questions, comments, wisdom of any kind regarding these 3 categories of public, private, and corporate? Please do the study on all 3 categories and how they're used. Because when you're setting up your trust, your family trust, or your clan trust, or your tribal trust, or your national trust, or your government trust, this matters. How you set it up matters and determines what it's going to do, what it's used for. Okay? Islam. Islam?
Islam, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I got booted out. I can't see the demonstration anymore. Already.
Okay, it's unlocked. You can come back in. And I don't know who booted you. The platform does that. So just so that everyone is aware, the platform does boot depending on how many people are on the platform and etc. I don't boot Moors out. I just boot out the jesters, the court jesters, the clowns. Islam.
Gratitude.
Islam. Are you in, Empress?
No, it's okay. Hold on.
Muted.
Now,
Recording
yes.
started.
Okay, great. Okay, I noticed there's quite a few others coming in as well. Okay, Empress, did you have something? Just one moment. Just one moment. Okay. Okay. So, with that being stated, the next set of notes that I wanted to bring forth for our nation is this, that there's a lot going on out there, and I'm seeing the foreign energies start to try and amp up their distractions. Let me tell you what the distractions are. They're listed in the Biblios Heliotech. It's wars and rumors of wars, earthquakes, floods, all of that stuff. I'm not saying that people are not being affected, but what I am saying is that we have to stay focused on nation building, because some of that stuff is theater. Some of it is theater. Much of it is theater, to take our attention off of what we're doing. So we have to stay focused on what we're doing. Okay? That is so important, staying focused on growth, rising, positivity, wisdom, and prosperity of our nation and for our nation. Do not let the theatrics and buffoonery distract you. We have already peacefully accessed our vast estate. We're already there. We're already there. We've already crossed over. We're already on the land, accessing the greatness of this vast estate. We are continuing to remember the processes to access our estate together with unity and great joy. Islam, Islam, Islam. Nous qui vivons do hereby proclaim that sumus de sanctum unum, we are the holy ones. Sumus de sanctum unum, we are the holy ones. Sumus de sanctum unum, we are the holy ones. Oldin ma oldran, gunalid mizit e manga doldran. When we intend a thing, our command is be, and it is so. We're already there, and that's the reason why these spells are being cast right now. We're already there. Lehaule wale kuata ila bila. There's no strength, no power except in Allah. We are Allah. Islam. So don't, I would say limit if you can, especially if it has, and you would know this, if the theatrics that you're seeing out there have an emotional or a spiritual effect on you that does not serve you, it is suggested, because we can't tell sovereigns what to do, it is suggested that you mute the noise out there coming from, the distractions coming from foreign energies. Because there's enough information going around between the Moors, even those who are still thinking that they're black are waking up and knowing that they are powerful, and beginning to realize that, oh, I have a nationality, I have a bloodline, a birthright. We've always been here, we're indigenous, etc. So they're coming into the knowledge of self as well. They're putting out so much information as well. It's almost like the 144,000 are manifesting all over the place, and you all are a part of that as well. We all are. So it's going to be important that the theatrics don't You know, all of that stuff about quote unquote Russia and Ukraine and all that, just theatrics for the most part. So, with that being stated, we do look to the cosmos. We don't ever want to try to go too far without looking and appreciating and being grateful for the cosmos, because the cosmos tells us where we are, what we're doing, you know. And when I say tells us, it just announces what we already know. So it's not predicting anything or anything like that. It's just telling us what we already know. And so for this month, MOONTH, the stars are aligned with our intentions as in times past. And we've pointed this out before, but we want to continue to keep things, to keep pointing out that the stars, the cosmos, and our astrological signs and symbols and sigils are right in alignment with what we're doing. We will be proclaiming our State of the Original Indigenous Union address on February 23rd, which is the height of the 3-day alignment of the crescent-shaped moon, Venus, which is Earth's twin, and Jupiter from February 21st through the 23rd in our favor. So when the ancestors first said to announce a State of the Original Indigenous Union address, and they just said, okay, do it next Thursday. That's what they said in the spirit realm. And then as I started looking at, okay, normally we do things like this on a day that is aligned with a holy day or something. And the ancestor said, we wouldn't have told you to do it that day if it wasn't aligned. And then as we began to look at the cosmos, we see that that is the height. And it will not just be any moon, not just a full moon, not just a new moon, but the crescent-shaped moon. Venus and Jupiter will be perfectly aligned on that day and will be the highest in the sky. It is to be noted that all the planets in our solar system rotate anti-clockwise except Venus. And that is why Venus is so bright and so magnificent in the cosmos, and very well pronounced over here at West. And I'm pretty sure it's pronounced where you all are as well. But even though the planets in the solar system are said to be rotating anti-clockwise, and there's a reason why the word anti-clockwise instead of counterclockwise is used. Anti-clockwise is not, counterclockwise is not the word that we wanted to use. Anti-clockwise is a better word. However, that may even change over the next few days, weeks, months, and years, and they'll all be going clockwise. So we'll talk more about that later. But it has everything to do with what we're doing and the cosmos being in alignment with us. Other cosmological reflections of our grand rising will manifest as follows. March 1st through the 4th, Jupiter and Venus will be so close to each other, they will be a mere 32 degrees apart. 32, that's 1 degree before 33. That is to be noted. That is an indication of, as a nation, because see, we're all at different places on the degree continuum, because our grand rising is it just goes and goes and goes. It never ends. So, but as a whole, we have elevated up as a whole, and that's to include the sleeping Moors as well. If you average out everyone sleeping Moors, awake Moors, those who are teaching processes, those who are, on the public record doing things, those who are in the background hidden by their own choice, those who are just waking up today. If you average out the growth of our nation, it would be 32 degrees. So we're right at the 33rd degree as a nation. And again, some Moors are at 320 degrees. Others are at 120 degrees. Others are at 33 degrees, in terms of where they are, where we all are on our scale. But the scale belongs to us, so we get to decide where we are. April 10th, Venus moves close to the Pleiades. And you can do the research on Pleiades and what that means. May 21st, Venus will be close to the two brightest stars in Gemini, which is Castor and Pollux. And do the study on Gemini and Venus and what that means in terms of those two bright stars, Castor and Pollux. June 4th, Venus will be the highest above the horizon in the evening sky, June 4th. July 7th, Venus will be crescent and at its greatest brilliance yet. So, and I did not know that Venus went crescent. I thought that was only a moon thing. But the fact that the moon and Venus will be crescent in July is that speaks very well of all that we're doing, all of us. So let's keep going. I do have another successful demonstration testament. So someone made it clear to me the other day, or yesterday rather, I was speaking to one of the Moors by communication device. And they made it clear to me, yes, indeed, in the chat, Allahu Akbar, indeed. The public transportation demonstrations have been yet another one of our most successful, repeatedly successful demonstrations. We continue to do that demonstration, and it works every time. We have successfully taken dominion over human trafficking, and will continue to do so. What does human trafficking have to do with getting on a public transportation and getting off? Because did you know that every time someone puts something in that, some fiat in the little thing, they're agreeing to be trafficked? That's human trafficking by their own consent. It's literally human trafficking. And we have completely taken dominion over that. And we speak freedom for all who take public transportation so that they're not trafficked. They just have to assent not to be. They have to know about it. Okay? And that's why the public transportation system, because that was actually, if you when you look back at things that transpired along the way that were blasted out there, riding, quote unquote, riding the bus was the main way that the public treasury, because see, the bus system, the public transportation system, is paid for out of the public treasury, unless it is hijacked by a corporation, which happened in the past. It's not that way today. It belongs to the people. All public transportation belongs to the people today. But in the past, corporations hijacked that whole, or gave the appearance of hijacking the public treasury, and then making it a corporate entity, supposedly. And so what did they do? They said, this is what they said. They said, we have to find a way to get the Moors off the public transportation so that the corporation can take it. If we can get all of them off of it for at least 3 days, we can can claim it and say they abandoned it and then make it corporate and then make them have to start paying for that using military script. So that was a ploy in and of itself. Okay? That was a ploy. Then what did they say? They said, okay, now that we got them off public transportation, we can start selling them cars and making cars a luxury item and put them on that work roller coaster, put them on that work treadmill, get them focusing on cars because we know they like cars because they invented all of them, all conveyances and all vehicles. In the past, we know they like nice things, so they said, let's get capitalism going in fraudulent capitalism, and then start selling them things, and then after a while we'll start confiscating. We'll start confiscating the conveyance, the cars. You see how all. Because see, the deal was, or what the attempt was to control the heirs, to control. But it was also, yes, escheat and hypothecation. It was that, Moors, but because we did not realize what was happening, because we weren't doing this, which is talking about it publicly, we actually consented without full disclosure to that, because it couldn't have been done without our consent. So what did they do? They threw in racism. They threw in racism. And they used those that looked like us, but who had hybrid mothers. I look back over every major event that has been made to seem like it's a major event, and that has always been the catalyst. Now, what am I saying? I'm not saying that we don't love everybody, because we do. I'm not saying anything negative about that, but it has to be pointed out because it's the truth. It has to be pointed out because it's the truth. Were there some Moors in the background doing things and helping to enslave? Yep, sure were. Sure were. And that's why it's important for us to know ourselves, know these principles of capitalism and military script and using our courts to speak, so that we never find ourselves in those situations again. And we won't, because we're going to stay on the public record talking loud and putting it out there. We do everything by court action. That's why we start our meetings like we do, so that court action language, because see, what we're really doing is programming court action language into the heirs. We have to, because our courts are eternal. Our courts were never to be inactive. Okay? Yes, animal husbandry, weaponized education system. Justice Morpheus, yes, indeed. Genocide disguised as racism, all of that. And you know what? Again, none of that could have been done without us saying, oh, okay, I'll use that script and I'll contract with, you know, I'll sign that contract. So no, that's all of that is, you know. So with that being stated, our demonstrations what we look for in a successful demonstration is repeated success. And then it's got to be success that when others do it, they get the same result that we got when they when they do the demonstration. And so that is what we have found to be the case with regard to the human trafficking demonstration that we've been doing repeatedly over the last few weeks, where public transportation is concerned. So, we have accomplished that which we desired to do, which was to be the portal for the energy for the end of human trafficking to manifest. This energy has rushed into this dimension with the high velocity of peace, prosperity, and love and truth and joy and all that we desire. Okay? And when I say we have accomplished that which we desire to do, that means all of us. We all, because of the demonstrations that we've done and all of that, we have brought that we've ushered into this dimension the freedom energies, the love energy, the prosperity energy, the abundance energy. It's here. Those energies are here, and not it, but I will say she is in terms of the energies, because they are matriarchal. They are patriarchal also. Mother sent them, because this is the era of mother. So, and she sent them to all of us, our sons.
Don't you cancel your internet service, Pauline? We've never seen that.
Okay. So, with that being stated, are there any questions, comments, wisdom regarding the things that we've discussed thus far? Okay, let's move on really quickly so that we can give the empresses, Empress Shasha, Empress Angel, Empress Rosetta, and Empress Karima the table so that we can dine sufficiently. Islam. One further thing. Remember, more as we were stating that that everyone should place on the public record the 40-something documents stating that we're the governors, we're the presidents, we're all of this. I want to show you again. We've shown this in the past, and even with regard to the State of the Union address that we're going to be doing this coming Thursday, where all the presidents
just
can't
show us
speak
one
if they choose
demonstration that's worked,
to do that. If, any of the presidents that choose to do that can do 1 to 3 minutes, and that's just so that everyone will have an opportunity. All the presidents can speak. Why do I say all the presidents, all the governors, and all? We don't have any one leader of the Moors. We're all the leaders of the Moors. Why do I say that? Because the foreigners had us thinking that that was a true hierarchy, that was the way things were supposed to be, that it was supposed to be one who leads everybody. And then they would pick that one off, or buy that one off, or kill that one off. And then the people are running around like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? We not that's not this time. We're not doing that this time. And here's the thing. In the background, they were doing the opposite of that. They were doing what we're doing now, which is everyone is the governor. Everyone is the president. Everyone is the leader. So let me prove that. Let's see here. I want to show you a list that I went to the Actors Secretary of State website. And on that website, there was an entire list of everyone who supposedly, quote unquote, who's acting like they have a business. Well, guess what they all called themselves? They all called themselves governors in the state of Washington. They all called themselves governors. So let me show you that here. Let's see. Just a moment. Let me see if I can pull this up. And I'm going to show you 1.2 million. 1.2 million, I think, is what I counted entries here. 1.2 million people claiming to be governors in the state of Washington, or previously claiming to be governors in the state of Washington, quote unquote, state of Washington. Can you all see this list on the screen?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, you can. Yes.
Okay. All right. So now, look, they all had adopted titles, and this is UBI. It's a universal business identifier, is what they said, quote unquote. Now we know they don't have titles, but look, watch how many there are. All of these, and some of them claiming businesses in the quote unquote state of Washington are not even in the state of Washington. They're in places like state of New York, state of Massachusetts, Boston, Massachusetts, Mazzano, Switzerland.
You see the Singapore one? You just passed
yes, indeed. Let's take a look at that. Let me see where that is. Just one moment. There it is, right there.
Switzerland,
Singapore.
Yeah, Singapore.
Yes. But look, watch how many. I'm going to go down this list here, and we're just going to roll through it. And you will see people from everywhere with documentation filed or enacted to be filed. From everywhere, all over the place. I thought I saw one here from, let's see. Okay, well, we won't take the time to, but just watch all of this. From everywhere. I'm going to have to do it this way because there's so many. It's millions. It's over 1 million.
Islam. How often is this list updated?
It depends on what they put on the document on their paper. So if their paper, if their business or whatever it is an active business, then it depends on if that business is still active or not, or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, just look at all of this. Every one of them claiming to be governors. And this is why, and again, they had us looking at one person, quote unquote, thinking that that one person was the governor, right? And then telling you, well, y'all need to have this structure. This is government structure. No, no, no. This is government structure. This estate is so vast that government structure looks like this. We need as many, not need, but we desire, and we will manifest as many. This is Chiloquin, Oregon. There were some from Canaan land. There were some from, here's Stamford, Connecticut. Here is Corona del Mar, California. Here's Indianapolis, Indiana. Here's Mesa, Arizona. Mountain View, Providence, Rhode Island, all the way out there, but got documentation over here talking about governor. This tells you, too, that they know that there are no borders. This tells you, too, that there are no borders. Just one moment. Unlocked. This tells you, too, that they know there's no borders, and that borders don't really matter as long as you put the paperwork on the public record. Yes, Durham, North Carolina. So all of you Moors, here's Danville, Virginia. So again, Omaha, Nebraska, etc. We could go through this list and find other places. Here's Canaan land right here. I saw some, again, she said, Empress Angel saw Singapore. I saw, where else did I see? I saw Australia. I saw just some of everywhere. So there are no borders when it comes to what we're doing. We just have to know that there isn't. We just have to know that there isn't. And then put the proper, use the process, because the system is a beautiful system. Our system is beautiful, and all they did was, overlay and copied what we did, and all we're doing is looking at what they did and taking back and originating our own system back like it was before they ever came, quote unquote. So more when we're talking about businesses and industry and all of that, if you'll notice, all of this is in all capital letters. All of it is in all capital letters. So that this means that from a business perspective, they were claiming to be governments. Okay? From a business perspective, they were claiming to be governments. However, when the people in capitis, diminuntio, minima put documentation on the public record, and we properly rebut the process that was used, then what happens is this stuff goes away. But we have to properly rebut it, and not only that, look here's someone doing business as an executor. And there's quite a few of those on here as well. Executor. This is an incorporator. So this is, I guess, someone that people go to when they want this stuff to be put on the public record in everywhere.
Islam.
An incorporator.
I've seen the word basrir, and so that stood out to me, so I looked it up, and it means, in French, topographic name for someone who lived by a box thicket. From busphere, meaning box.
Can you spell that?
Bussire.
Oh, Bussier. Bussier. Is
that like enlightenment that you kept saying the other day, you dumbass Angel Bay? Enlightenment instead of entitlement?
Hold on just a minute. Bussier is how the French pronounce it. Then how you pronounce it, Empress Angel, is how the English pronounce it. So both are correct. I see here somebody tried to put something in all lowercase letters, but still they had to put all the rest of this in capital. When they put it in the system, it was in all caps. There are a couple of other titles going on in here as well that they were claiming. Here's another incorporator. This is just, you know, and then who knows what the ones who don't have anything there, who knows what they do, what they're doing. They're straight incognito. This is incognito. No address, no nothing, but they're there. OHLFS, I don't know what that means. It's probably a name. So anyway, I wanted to point this out, Morris, because this is why.
Why don't you bring up the King County tax records and show how you pay your taxes?
Some people feel like we don't have, and I'll repeat what I say whenever I'm talking over them, over the noise, not them, but the noise. I'm going to repeat what I say. But, you know, some people don't feel like each and every one of us needs to put, you know, all these documents on the public record. But you best believe they did. Best believe they did. See, one thing we can't do is be slack, lackadaisical, lazy, etc., and just not, you know, and just expect the whole estate to just come and just sit in. Let me just say this too about most of these people right here. Most of the people, most of the persons listed here don't even speak English as their first language. They coming from other places, Germany, state of Germany, or whatever you call it, whatever the corporate version is. These people, and I don't have anything against that. However, when it came to this estate, how about everybody learned English so that they could put the documentation on the public record? So what is our excuse? We have none. We don't have an excuse. We don't have an excuse. You know, so don't let anybody tell you, oh, all that paperwork ain't necessary. How about you? They didn't say that to them. They didn't say that to them. And then people will look at those persons and the acting that they're doing and want to live like them. But then you say, well, do these documentation and this documentation and this documentation. And I don't think that's necessary. I'm an heir. We heirs, they not. No, we got to do. We have to be competent at the processes because it's a system that we're speaking to. Okay, it's a system. It's our system. It's our system. We should use our system. So that and guess what it does? And here, I don't even know where this is. Kaohsiung, so probably China. And here they are claiming to govern on, claiming to govern. I can't say on our land because that's not on our land. So Islam, we shall do that. Empress Takaya, thank you so much for that. Here, let me go ahead and do that real quick. Again, Moors, when you get, they're out of here, Empress Takaya. We know that's a hybrid, doing a hybrid court jester clown doing stupid stuff. And we're not mad at the person, the people. We're not mad at anyone, really. We just boot them out. Let's see. Just a moment. So, and then we of course we keep going. So, with that being stated, Moors, this is why as many Moors as possible, even as we begin to move into commerce, because that is exactly where we're going as well. We're going into commerce as well. And as we continue to govern these resources, it's going to be important that we know that that the things that were projected out to us were not necessarily, that wasn't all true. In fact, most of it wasn't true. And that there was things going on in the background that when we learn, as we continue to remember the processes, we will see what's going on in the background that made it so that sleeping heirs didn't realize that those people didn't have any control over them until we actually woke up and looked and thought and said, oh, this is why. Because we needed to rebut. So again, we would encourage as many as possible. If you don't want to do it, because we can't tell sovereigns what to do, but to whom much is given, much is required. Let's put it that way. And those that don't want to do it please don't be upset with the people who do it and reap the benefits of doing the things that need to be put on the public record. Okay. So Empress Shasha, Empress Karima, Empress Angel, Empress Rosetta, the emergency housing piece, we want to complete that today. We have, I think, 2 more pages to go with regard to the emergency housing. And for us, emergency means coming out, to emerge from the previous era into this era as 100% heirs fit to govern Islam. Empress Shasha, are you here? I know you are because I saw you.
I am here.
Yes, indeed, indeed. Empress Shasha, may I first mention too the photos that you sent me of the public transportation at Jamaica?
Yes.
Oh my word. Empress Shasha sent, you're so beautiful, Empress Shasha, I just have to say that. So Empress Shasha sent photos of the buses, the public transportation at Jamaica Territory, and it has the Chinese Communist Party flag.
Yep.
On the public transportation,
yep.
Underneath the Jamaican flag.
Banner.
Yes. Banner. This is my thoughts. When I saw that, it affirmed what I knew about all that we've been seeing. All of the flags that we've been seeing where they say this is the flag for China, this is the flag for whoever, this is the flag for, all of those are banners for amity and commerce, or banners of amity and commerce. All of them. None of those are national flags. None.
They couldn't be. They're corporations, aren't they? I mean, they're
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But it wasn't. I mean, it was surprising to see that flag, because one of the things that's going on here, and we know it's acting.
Yes.
Everything's being sold to China. China has control. You get what I'm saying? I mean,
yeah.
And we know it's acting, but that's the CGI. That's the theater.
Yeah, it is the theater. It is the theater.
Yeah.
I'm going to send the presenter piece over if you need it, Empress. Do you have a document?
I will just find the couple of pages, and then I will share. Yeah, thank you. Let me fill about here for a minute.
Yeah, I was absolutely just amazed to see that banner on there, so close to here, even.
I was shocked because I had sent you some maybe last week or a few days back, and I keep revisiting, and these popped up, and there are at least 4 or 5 of them. I was shocked too.
Yes.
Because it's so blatant.
Yes. I thought, okay, so the reason that they're there is they're pretending to be the public.
Right. So it's now we have to take care of some business and remove them.
Yes, and that also affirmed for me that our banner for amity and commerce that we have at the top of our documents should be earthwide.
Yes. You know, that was a question I always had, and I know I've asked it a few times, because I obviously it felt that that's the way it should be, but I couldn't. I've never seen it here, but with seeing that now and our conversation, it makes perfect sense.
Yes, it does.
So let me where did it go? The share screen thing. Let me pull up mine. Okay, I'm ready.
And then I did see someone do a demonstration over at the UK territory using the banner of amity and commerce and saying that they are quote unquote global citizens, etc. But that also affirmed for me that our banner for amity and commerce should be used everywhere.
Everywhere. Okay, now hang on one moment. The share screen was on the screen. Hold on, it's disappeared.
There you are.
You see me?
Yes, you're on the screen.
Oh, how do I get the
presentment
share screen thing?
Okay, I thought that I had put it on there. Let me just make sure that I gave to you the.
It was there a minute ago, but
okay, let me send it back over again. Let me send it back over.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you, Islam.
Right.
Islam, we can hear you very well.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
There you are.
Come back.
Is it there?
Could you put it on? I'm on 2.
Yes, I can.
I think because I've got 2 computers.
Okay, let me.
And I can take
just one moment.
There you are. Wonderful.
Perfect.
All right, I'm going to get back to my screen.
Empress Shasha, you just look like fruit. And the colors are so bright and beautiful.
I'm in my little inside-outside house, surrounded by nature and our flag, and I just, I'm delighted to be here. I am a flower. I have my hibiscus.
I love that. That's beautiful.
All right.
We can see your screen.
You can see the screen?
Yes.
All right. So I'll just read the main title of the document because we're continuing from Sunday. No, today's Sunday, from Thursday. So this document is the Domiciling Public Works Entitlement Command. Let me make sure I'm reading it properly. Section 8, Domiciliary National Works Entitlement and Prepaid Program. United States Department for Domiciling and Indigenous Development Works, Office for Public and Indigenous Domiciling Housing National Voucher Program, OMB Approval 2577-0169, reconstructed, time immemorial. Public Law Statement, the Department for Domiciling and National Development, Domicile National Development, is authorized to collect the information required on this affidavit for Section 8. Can you still hear me?
Yes,
okay.
Sounds great.
All right, wonderful. For the United States law for domiciling 1937, 42 United States Code 1437F, collection of clan, tribe, pride, and all associated national groups, members, appellations, names, and mailing location, and creditor fiduciary appellation and prepaid mailing location is affirmed. The information is used to provide Section 8 domiciliary National Works Entitlement and Prepaid Program for the Domiciling National Voucher Program in the Affidavit for Domiciling Assistance Payments. The information also specifies what utilities and appliances are to be supplied by the creditor fiduciary, and what utilities and appliances, or did I just double? Yes, I did. Oh, that's a duplicate. No, hang on. No, and what utilities and appliances are to be supplied by the heirs, heir tenants. Domicile National Development may disclose this information to Moorish federal, state, and local authorities when relevant to civil, criminal, or regulatory investigations and prosecutions. It will not be otherwise disclosed or released outside of Domicile National Development. To assist in your process, participation, and expedience is appreciated to expedite the process. So that's the document. We're at the last couple of pages. If I am correct, we're in Section 8, where Empress Karima, my apologies, had left off. Yep, we are, I do believe. Let me just, oh, hang on, where am I? Poop, hang on. You know what, I've lost the numbering for some reason here, but I do believe it was, we were at, all right, hold on. My apologies. This is supposed to be an E, if I recall.
Islam, I think we were at page 18.
And these are the pages, but it's renumbered itself.
Okay.
So let me see if I can pull up the full document, and then the numbering will be correct. It's let me see, and just go down, because I had just sort of taken my edits and tried to refix the formatting, and so hang on.
Islam, you had sent the document Protection for Victim Abuse. That's
what's
where
that?
you had, right, yep, they're right there. Yep, Protection for Victims and
Right, thank you so much. That was,
okay.
Now look, I'm all hot and, all right. So
this, still glowing.
This piece, looking at I think this paragraph right about in the light color, this provision shall not affect any state or local law that provides for longer time periods or addition protections for tenants. And I wasn't sure if that was actually in the piece because it was missing from my bit. Should that be in there above E? Do you see where I am, Angel?
One moment. Yes, I do. I'm going to check the other document as one moment.
I wasn't sure, but I put it in there because I saw it in the original. And because of the formatting, you know, it sort of realigned itself. So I...
Yep, it's there. Yes, it's there. Provision shall not be affected. Yep.
So the piece, there was a date which I took out because I didn't. Was that date? I highlighted it when I sent it to you. Was that date that said about sunset?
Oh yes, this provision will sunset on December 31st. Yes, right, that is excluded. Yep.
Okay. All right, that kind of made sense to me. All right, so I will continue here. So we are at E. Protections for victims of abuse, paragraph 1, an incident or incidents of actual or threatened domestic violence, dating violence, or stalking will be reviewed by the Public Domicile Works Program. Review may include referrals to therapy and anger management in accordance to the doctrine of ajustem generis. And I looked up what that means. It basically means the same, let me see, I wrote it down. It's the law of the same kind. So basically what it's saying, at least my understanding, that anything in the document, anything that comes after this point, everything is the same kind. It has to be within the same sort of, what would be the same kind of area. Like, for instance, at least with therapy and anger management, anything, if they will break that down, it would all have to relate to therapy and anger management. You couldn't change direction or topic. Does that make sense? Is that making sense to anyone or everyone? It's gone silent.
Excuse me, I was muted. Yes, it makes sense.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, so carrying on, and may be construed as serious or repeated violations of the usage agreement or other good cause for termination of the assistance, heir/tenancy agreement or domiciliary rights of such a victim if parties involved refuse assistance. Number 2, criminal activity directly relating to abuse engaged in by a member of an, that should be an, correctly, an heir tenant's household or any guest or other people/person within the heir tenant's ability to regulate will be reviewed by the Public Domicile Works Program, and review may include referrals to therapy and anger management in accordance to the doctrine of ejusdem generis, again, shall not be cause for termination for assistance or domiciliary rights if the heir tenant or an immediate member of the heir tenant's clan, tribe, pride, and all associated national groups is the victim or threatened victim of domestic violence, dating violence, or stalking. Number 3, notwithstanding any restrictions on admission, domiciling, or terminations of domiciling or assistance, or any federal, state, or local law to the contrary, a Public Domicile Works Program owner or manager may bifurcate, which means to split into 2, a usage agreement, or otherwise remove a household member from a usage agreement. So I'm understanding where the bifurcating would mean that then that agreement would be split into 2, and the 2 parties would then get 2 separate agreements. Or otherwise, if that's not the case, then they would remove them from the agreement completely, without regard to whether a household member is a signatory to the usage agreement, in order to evict, remove, terminate domiciliary rights, or terminate assistance to any individual who is an heir/tenant or lawful occupant and who engages in criminal acts of physical violence against clan, tribe, pride, and all associated national groups, members, or others. This action may be taken without evicting, removing, terminating assistance to, or otherwise penalizing the victim of the violence, who is also an heir, tenant, or lawful occupant. Such eviction, removal, termination, or domiciliary rights, or termination of assistance shall be effected in accordance with the procedures prescribed by federal, state, and local law for the termination of usage agreements or assistance in the domiciling choice voucher program. Number 4, nothing in this section may be construed to limit the authority of a domiciling public works program owner or caretaker, when noticed, to honor lawful Article 3 court commands addressing rights of access or control of the property, including protection orders issued to protect the victim and presented to address the distribution or possession of property among the household members in cases where a clan, tribe, pride, and all associated national groups breaks up. Number 5, nothing in this section limits any otherwise available authority of an owner or manager to evict or the public domiciling agency to terminate assistance to an heir/tenant for any violation of a usage agreement not premised on the act or acts of violence in question against the heir-tenant or a member of the heir-tenant's household, provided that the owner, caretaker, or public domiciliary works program does not subject an individual who is or has been a victim of domestic violence, dating violence, or stalking to a more demanding standard than other heir/tenants in determining whether to evict or terminate. Number 6, nothing in this section may be construed to limit the authority of an owner or manager to evict or the public domiciling agency to terminate assistance to any heir-tenant if the owner, manager, or public domiciling agency can demonstrate an actual and imminent threat to other heir/tenants or those employed at or providing service to the property if the heir-tenant is not evicted or terminated from assistance. Number 7, nothing in this section shall be construed to supersede any provision of any state or local law that provides greater protection than this section for victims of domestic violence, dating violence, or stalking. F, eviction by Article 3 court action. The owner may only evict the heir/tenant by an Article 3 court action. G, owner notice of grounds. Number 1, at or before the beginning of an Article 3 court action to evict the heir/tenant, the owner must give the heir/tenant a notice that specifies the grounds for termination of the usage agreement. The notice may be included in or combined with any owner eviction notice. Number 2, the owner must give the Public Domicile Works Program a copy of any owner eviction notice. At the same time, the owner notifies the heir/tenant, which includes efforts to mitigate any issues prior to notice of termination. Number 3, eviction notice means a notice to vacate or a complaint or other initial pleading in an eviction action in alignment with national laws. Number 9, usage agreement, relation to domicile entitlement prepaid affidavit. If the domicile entitlement prepaid affidavit terminates for any reason, the usage agreement terminates automatically. Number 10, Public Domicile Works Program termination of assistance. The Public Domicile Works Program may terminate program assistance for the clan/tribe/pride and all associated national groups for any groups authorized in accordance with domicile national development requirements. If the Public Domicile Works Program terminates program assistance for the clan, tribe, pride, and all associated national groups, the usage agreement terminates automatically. Number 11, clan/tribe/pride and all associated national groups move out. The heir/tenant must notify the Public Domicile Works Program and the owner before the clan, tribe, pride, and all associated national groups moves out of the domicile. Number 12, security deposit. A, the owner may collect a security deposit from the heir/tenant. However, the Public Domicile Works Program may prohibit the owner from collecting a security deposit in excess of private market practice or in excess of amounts charged by the owner to unassisted heirs/tenants. Any such public domicile works program required restriction must be specified in the domicile entitlement prepaid affidavit. B. When the clan/tribe/pride and all associated national groups moves out of the domicile, the owner, in alignment with state and local law, may use the security deposit, including any interest on the deposit, as reimbursement for any unpaid rent payable by the heir/tenant, any damages to the domicile, or any other amounts that the heir/tenant owes outlined in the usage agreement. C. The owner must give the heir/tenant a list of all items charged against the security deposit and the amount of each item. After deducting the amount, if any, used to reimburse the owner must promptly refund the full amount of the unused balance to the heir/tenant. D. If the security deposit is not sufficient to cover amounts the heir/tenant owes, outlined in the usage agreement, the owner may collect the balance from the heir/tenant. 13. Prohibition of discrimination. In accordance with federal, state, and local law, the owner must not discriminate against any people/person because of race, color, religion, sex, national origin, age, familial status, or disability in connection with the usage agreement. 14. Conflict with other provisions for usage agreement. The terms of A. The terms of the tenancy addendum are prescribed by the Domicile National Development in accordance with federal law and regulation. As a condition for federal assistance to the heir/tenant and heir/tenant's clan, tribe, pride, and all associated national groups in the Section 8 voucher program. B. In case of any conflict between the provisions of the tenancy addendum, as required by Domicile National Development, and any other provisions of the usage agreement or any other agreement between the owner and the heir/tenant, the requirements of the Domicile National Development required tenancy addendum shall control. 15. Changes in usage agreement or prepayment. A. The heir/tenant and the owner may not make any change in the tenancy addendum. However, if the heir/tenant and the owner agree to any other changes in the usage agreement, such changes must be in writing, and the owner must immediately give the Public Domicile Works Program a copy of such changes. The usage agreement, including any changes, must be in accordance with the requirements of the tenancy addendum. B. In the following cases, heir/tenant-based assistance shall not be continued unless the Public Domicile Works Program has approved a new tenancy in accordance with program requirements and has executed a new domicile entitlement prepaid affidavit with the owner. Number 1. If there are any changes in usage agreement requirements governing heir/tenant or owner responsibilities for utilities or appliances. 2. If there are any changes in usage agreement provisions governing the term of the usage agreement. 3. If the clan/tribe/pride and all associated national groups move to a new domicile, even if the domicile is in the same building or complex. C. Public Domicile Works Program approval of the tenancy and execution of a new domicile entitlement prepaid affidavit are not required for agreed changes in the usage agreement other than as specified in paragraph B. D. The owner must notify the Public Domicile Works Program of any changes in the prepayment amount to owner at least 60 days before any changes go into effect, and the prepayment amount to owner following any such agreed change may not exceed reasonable payment for the domicile as most recently determined or redetermined by the Public Domicile Works. Let's see, program should be in there. Program in accordance with domicile national development requirements. 16, notices, I'm just going to say this quickly. Notices, any notice listed in the usage agreement by the heir/tenant to the owner or by the owner to the heir/tenant must be in writing. 17, definitions. Usage agreement, the domicile usage agreement or usage agreement by the heir/tenant with assistance within the program. Clan/tribe/pride and all associated national groups. The people/persons who may reside in the domicile with assistance within the program. Domicile entitlement prepaid affidavit. The domiciling assistance payments contract between the Public Domicile Works Program and the owner. The Public Domicile Works Program pays domiciling assistance payments to the owner in accordance with the domicile entitlement prepaid affidavit. Dwelling domicile, the persons who may dwell in the domicile. The household consists of the clan/tribe/pride and all associated national groups and any Public Domicile Works Program approved live-in aid. A live-in aid is people/person who domiciles in the dwelling to provide necessary supportive services for a member of the clan/tribe/pride and all associated national groups who is or are people/persons with disabilities. Domiciling quality standards, domiciling quality agreement. The Domicile National Development Minimum Quality Standards for domiciling assistance in the Section 8 heir/tenant-based programs. And, domicile national development. The United States Department for Domiciling and National Development. Domicile national development requirements. Domicile national development requirements for the Section 8 program. Domicile national development requirements are issued by Domicile National Development Headquarters as regulations, Federal Register notices, or other binding program directives. Usage agreement, the written agreement between the owner and the heir/tenant for the usage agreement for a domicile to the heir/tenant. The usage agreement includes the heir/tenancy addendum prescribed by Domicile National Development. Public Domicile Works Program, Public Domiciling Agency. Premises, the building or complex in which the usage agreement is located, including common areas and grounds. Program, the Section 8 Domiciling Choice Voucher Program. Prepayment to owner, the total monthly payment to the owner for the usage agreement. The prepayment to the owner is the sum of the portion for rent payable by the heir/tenant, plus the Public Domicile Works Program domiciling assistance payment to the owner. Section 8. Section 8 of the United States Domiciling, Article 1, Section 8, Article 6, Section 1 of the Constitution for America, and Article 6, Section 1 of the 1836 Treaty for Peace and Friendship. Heir/tenant, the clan/tribe/pride and all associated national groups members whose usage agreement for the domicile from the owner. Voucher program. The Section 8 Domiciling Choice Voucher Program. Within this program, Domicile National Development provides funds to a public domicile works program for prepayment assistance support for airship creditor, clan tribe pride, and all associated national groups. The heir/tenancy agreement within the usage agreement will be assisted with prepayment funding assistance for a tenancy, heir/tenancy agreement within the voucher program. And I do believe we are at the end. That was the end of what I had.
Islam, very good. Though I do have to state that there was a word that said contract.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, well, right here. There's a domicile, right? You're moving, and it was there.
Sorry. Okay, let me move up a little bit. It's not on the screen right now. Let me go up.
No.
I can do a search for it too, but let's see. It's got to be around here somewhere. I didn't even hear it. Let me see.
Yeah, right there. Domicile entitlement prepaid affidavit, and then the first line, domiciling assistance payment.
Yes, I see that. Yes. So that should be
Affidavit.
Affidavit. All right. Okay. All right. Thank you for that one. I missed that one. All right. And that is it. I don't know what else might be on there. And of course, we'll have to reformat this, but okay.
Islam.
All right. Thank you.
To those that are on this call, can we just give a grand Islam for the empresses that worked together on this process, please? Because if it's one thing we love, is to see the matriarchs doing what they do.
Islam. Empress. Islam.
Yes.
Well done.
Yes, indeed.
Well done, Islam.
Well done, Islam.
Highest honors.
On this together.
Islam. Oh my God, these people are crazy.
Yes. So, yes, Islam. I hear some airs in the background saying Islam. Okay. It is the matriarch's responsibility to bring forth with the assistance and the help of our sons. And we're just so grateful. I'm grateful to the empresses who worked on this, because in the past I had a little bit of a feeling of, well, if it's going to be done, I guess I better get doing it. And the empresses just swooped in and said, not by yourself. And I love that. I love that because, I think it's important that we are the face of the processes, that go out. Not to say that the patriarchs can't lead the processes too now. Let's just get that straight. So I'm grateful for the empresses that worked on this, and let's move forth. Those who want to access this document, empresses, Empress Karima, Empress Angel.
Islam, yes, I was going to state that. Give us a few more days, and then I'll give it to you, Empress Light, and one of us will, and it can be posted under the video.
Great.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, I'm looking forward to that also.
Yes.
Let me just make sure that we, just a minute, Empress Shasha, I got you here. Let me see how to do this. Okay. I think we got it here. Okay, Islam. Well, housing, domiciling, it is for us, the heirs. And I'm looking forward to the demonstration of this process by those who are going to be doing this process. And we, of course, we support everyone who demonstrates this process. I will say this, that our processes are becoming far more widely demonstrated and far more widely demonstrated successfully as we continue to do what we're doing. So with that being stated, are there any questions to the empresses regarding this process? I yield the floor for questions to the empresses. Islam.
Islam. Islam.
Oh, yes, Islam. Islam Justice.
I'm here in the UK, Justice Council. Does anything have to be changed on that document being here in the UK, or it stays the same?
Oh, it's a national universal document, and so you would just have to implement it at your territory. But the language is for everybody. There's no specific language that states only the Turtle Island over this side can use it. No, it's for everybody. Because It's a Section 8 for the Constitution for the States United. And so that's the Section 8 that we are using, and that's the Constitution. So it's for everybody.
You took that; those were the words I was going to use, Empress Angel. Thank you for that. Yes.
Thank you for that. I just asked the question, so if anybody else is listening, they might want to ask the same question as well. But I do copy that. Islam.
Thank you, Islam.
Islam. I just want to share that my sister Empress Nana is here visiting from London, so she will be doing this demonstration.
Yes, indeed, Empress Nana. We send our highest honors to you. Thank you for being here, and we're so glad that you're there with our amazing Empress.
Beautiful, yes.
Wow. You guys are glowing. You're glowing over there. We absolutely are happy to see you. Thank you for being a part of there. Yes, Islam.
Thank you.
Islam.
Islam.
Islam. Islam.
I yield to the Empress.
Yes. Islam Empress. Yes. Islam Empress.
Islam Empress.
At the risk of sounding dumb,
Never.
I'm still unsure how thank you. I'm still unsure how I can apply this as I look for property as an heir. So it sounds like the way the document reads to me is that as an heir, I would be acquiring from an owner, and then the owner can be either a Moorish heritage or a subject, depending on who has taken on the responsibility. So I'm totally confused how I could use this as an heir.
Islam.
Can you clarify that? Does that make any sense?
I would love to clarify. If you don't, I would love to clarify.
All right. Yes, I'm.
So, at the place that we're at right now, I think that it's important that we, just one moment, let me see, there's a little bit of background noise coming from a couple of places. Okay. At this point that we're at right now, I think that it's important that we look at these processes from the place of ownership. And the reason I say from the place of ownership is because we have our allodial title process and the proper claiming of domiciles, etc. We have our delarium. We have everything in place at this point, and the properties are all at this point in the system, it was previously looking as if they were abandoned, but they're not. We're here. Okay? And so because we're here, we need to know the process of first properly claiming a property so that we can get the properties out to the people in the manner that they need to be, you know, whatever the people need out there. So I would say look at it, Empress, from the ownership perspective, and then do the study on home ownership. Justice Kaftoum, he pretty much illustrated it where, you know, this was last week, he illustrated how he got everything to shut down and for them to leave, to abandon or to leave the property, but they came back. And so we need to look at that, Empress Cynthia. And the process that he used, we listed it last week. In order to have them to abandon or leave, because it's not their property. They were unlawfully occupying, really. And those things that we used were are listed right here.
Okay. I was present for that, so I'm familiar with that process that he did.
Yes.
And have notes. Okay.
And we would do that even if the property appears to be that there's nobody in it.
Okay.
We would do the same thing just to make sure that it's clear.
Okay. All right. Islam.
And then what I would do, and this is what I'm seeing as manifesting in this 3D realm that we're at, or that we're operating at, is that once you do these documents right here, then you would do the realty portion of the process on corporate paper, national corporate paper. And we've illustrated that process previously, but it does need to be done on national corporate paper. That way, it's spoken first as above, then so below. That way, it has gone through our courts, and proper claiming of the property is there, and then later on, if you want to rent the property out or lease the property out or whatever the case may be, or pass it to an heir, you can do that, and you have all the documentation in place as to the origination of the property, of how you came into the property. It may seem like, a lot of paperwork, but think about how much paperwork we all did initially when we first in our sleep were doing the real estate process.
We're doing the real estate process. Well, as government, that's my job too.
Yes, indeed, Empress.
I'm aware of that.
Indeed. I'm so glad you are, Empress. You know why? Because some people are not, and it can be a little frustrating sometimes, and they don't quite get that part.
Oh, no.
But I'm glad you do. But I'm glad you do.
Well, when I think of over our lifetime and all the paperwork we received from that system, this is nothing in comparison. And we're trying to undo all of this. It makes sense to me. And I, too, am a little frustrated with people who say no paperwork. We don't need paperwork. If there were no paperwork, we'd have nothing to look back on. I mean, our ancestors would have left nothing for us to guide us back, back home, basically. So I appreciate the paperwork. I'm not fond of it, but I know how important it is, and it's sort of the foundation. So we all know where we stand.
Yeah.
Islam.
And it cuts down on court action. Once a contract has been made.
And confusion.
Has been made. Yeah.
Islam.
Yeah.
Islam, Empress Light.
Islam, Empress Karima.
Yes. Should the levy process be included in this as well?
Yes.
In the document?
Yes, that's a great, thank you for that. I'm going to add it right now.
Yes.
A city levy, a state levy, a federal levy, it just, and actually a county levy. But I prefer county, whichever is applicable for the location of the property. In fact, why don't I just put Article 3 levy. There it is. Thank you for that, Empress. I try to remember and recall as many, everything that we're doing. Every now and then, one or two of them will, and so that's why we're here.
Exactly. You do a great job with that, and that's why we're here to add on.
Thank you. Islam, indeed. Islam, Empress.
On the document,
it sounds like you're a million miles away from us.
No, it's my computer, I think. On the document, the language, a part about the eviction concerns me.
So, Empress, does it concern you from the place of owner, or does it concern you from the place of tenant or heir?
Both. Because it just seems like we're just boomeranging, and we're coming from the same place that they came from to put people on the street. So when you evict, I just think it just seems like that language should not be in there, because there should be no more homelessness or anything where somebody's, their house was threatened, where they live.
Y'all back already?
So I just want to know. I just don't know what that looks like for us to evict somebody. I understand deport or something like that if they're a problem, but to evict them, where are they going? And so I don't know what that looks like. So that's my concern. I yield.
Okay, thank you for that. Let me clarify that. And Empresses, please speak on that as well. But from our perspective, all that we're doing, all that we've been seeing from the past era has been an exercise in competent heirs. Do the heirs know how to govern and take care of this estate? So where eviction is concerned, if the heirs are, as we continue to put erudition on the public record and we open our Moorish schools and temples rather, and we're putting our honorability on the public record, evictions will go down to 0 because everyone will already be aware. It'll be like it was back in the day because our ancestors didn't have to deal with that until foreign matter came here and was not honorable. And so as we move back into full honorability on both ends, on both sides, and when I say both sides, I mean on the side of owner and tenant, it won't even be a problem. But right now we're in transition all the way back to our greatness. And as we do that, we have to make sure that the process deals with the previous era, the baggage left from unlawful occupation and colonialism, and so that we all, as we continue to stand, that that we get rid of all the programming. So eviction is in there, but when we're honorable, it won't be a problem. And I will say this, there were some people that were on Section 8 who were honorable. They kept their place, back in the previous era, who stayed there 20, 30 years. And that was a problem that the people were having, is they're saying, oh, she's been on Section 8 for 30 years. She's been in that same place for 30 years. Well, is she holding to her end of the contract? Or he holding to their end of the contract? Yes. So they were never put out, never evicted. This is an exercise in first us governing the estate prudently, intelligently, and competently, and then also being honorable on both ends. If I was the tenant, honorability would be I would be wanting to pay on time, do everything on time, honorability. Now, some did not have a problem with that in the last era. They were, but because of colonialism and occupation, some did. So again, we're just ridding ourselves of the programming and then ridding the processes of that colonial era. So eviction and all of that stuff that we did not like. When things, as we continue to grow and continue to rise, we won't even need those things. We won't need police because everyone's going to be honorable. We won't need any of that stuff. And some might think that that's far off, but it's really not. It's not far off at all. And so that's why it's in there. Because they're gonna see what we're doing right now is preparing for the mass amount of Moors to come, to wake up and come and be with us. And some of them may come with some of that old baggage. And all we're going to do is just continue to be honorable and honorable and honorable to the point where they get it. And then eviction won't be a problem. Our ancestors didn't have that problem until the fall. That's why they call it a fall and a rise. And I'm looking forward to the day when we don't even need contracts at all because our word is so great. And some are there now, others are not. But we don't want to leave the ones who aren't there behind. Just because people are coming with whatever they're coming with from colonialism does not mean we're going to boot them or get rid of them. We're going to show them first and then continue to move forward and encourage them to do the same. Not a single one of us is going to be left behind, no matter how bad they think they are. Everybody's coming with us. Everybody. And that's why things like eviction and all of that stuff is there, because it's made into the system, but after a while we won't even need it. That's the only reason they kept adding and adding and adding and adding and adding to something that didn't need any additions. The original Constitution didn't have 29 or 27 or 30 amendments to it. It didn't have them. We didn't need them. But then as the fall happened, they came. After a while, we won't need them. So hopefully that explains, because this is about the uplifting of all of fallen humanity. All of fall. They have to come with us. We have to govern. All of this it's already happening. It's already happening. So hopefully that explains the evictions and all of the things that we consider negative that really are not negative. They're actually things that we're going to eventually do away with. I'm going to be really glad when evictions are out of all contracts. It's just not there now. Islam. I yield. Empresses, Empress Karima, Empress Shasha, Empress Angel, Empress Rosetta, if you all want to add to that. Islam.
Yes. Continuing on what you were just stating, Empress Light, about the evictions and things, you know, this is a program, right? So in a lot of programs, you have to get erudite on and for and with. So that language to add in, you know, for the ones who are Moors, you know, the erudition of knowing thyself can be added in to the language. So, you know, because when people know that something belongs to them, they have a tendency to want to take care of it. But if they don't think that it belongs to them, or they can have, you know, ownership in something and, you know that it's theirs for them to have a legacy for and with and by into their little people, then they're more likely to destroy it and allow their little heirs to destroy it. And if there is erudition to, you know, erudite them, to teach them the ways that they may not depart and that they may, you know, further on to their legacies, they will, you know, choose to keep it and do the best by it, for it, to pass it on. So, yes, the language can be put in the document, or even from the standpoint of, you know, the initial program development. Let me just get the words right. The Domicile National Development Program can put it in that language so that when they are choosing to do this process, they know that that's one of the guidelines to be a part of the program, and all the other added benefits for being in the program. So with that, I yield. That's a suggestion, by the way, this one.
Islam. If there's nothing further, yes, indeed, by the tenant or the heir. Yes, indeed. Sheikh Klein says eviction can be stopped also. This is also going to be an exercise in us learning how to deal with one another in a way that is different. When you know better, you do better. Our nobility is going to be front and center in everything we do. In everything we do, our nobility is going to be front. It is currently front and center. And there were most of us, I would say most of us, because I know I've had some of the most awesome experiences with Moors in our sleep. Most Moors were noble and honorable. They had that noble air about them. Even in their sleep, they wouldn't do. There are some lines we would not cross with each other because of our nobility. There was some honor somewhere. Even in the toughest quote unquote gangs, they had some honor about them somewhere. And I'm not condoning gangs or anything, but what I'm saying is, to a degree, all of us had our nobility in place, even in our sleep. There were some things we just were not going to do. And so this is going to be another, this is where we get to fully be the nobility in every area that we have always been. You know, I used to, when I was working in corporate, quote unquote, corporate America, even the toughest sleeping Moorish boss there was some things they were not going to do in order to keep those jobs. And I was grateful for that because I had seen the opposite of that with the foreigners. They would lie, they would steal. I mean, I saw it firsthand. Lying, steal. Now, I'm not saying that Moors didn't lie and steal, but I'm saying there were some lines we wouldn't cross. And now is the same thing. And with regard to this eviction piece even, it's kind of like to whom much is given, much is required. And then it's like the gift, the thing with the talents, the story of the master giving the talents to the servants. And we're not saying that that's the issue here, but what I'm saying is that paradigm, that scenario of give them a little bit first and see how they do with it, because that's really what this has been from the very beginning. I can tell you that from firsthand experience. The ancestors have been saying, can we trust that you're going to do the right thing with this little bit of information that we give you, or are you going to hoard it and then try and sell it? And I'm like, no, I'm going to be faithful with the information. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to share the information. It's the same thing with that. Moors won't have to worry about eviction. They're going to be honorable in what they do. They're not going to be going back and forth like that. They may do that initially, but that's not going to even be the norm for us. It's not going to be the norm, and really it's not the norm now. They just make you think it's the norm with their media, or made you think it was the norm with their media. So, Empress, we won't have to worry about that. Everybody's going to be honorable because they're going to see honor coming in. That's why we're Judah. We're some of the first Moors. This is the first generation where our heirs don't have to be born in slavery, so to speak. And slavery being fake documents and things, fake birth certificate and all of that. Our heirs don't have to be that. They're going to come in seeing honor in the processes. They're going to come in seeing us doing things, doing our public exchanges on the public record and being honorable and making sure and keeping each other in alignment too, So I'm excited about that. I don't know about you all. Ooh, it's going to be just beautiful to see us, just honoring one another the way we know we should. We know we should be honoring one another and being deserving of the honor because we are honorable, So I'm looking forward to that. It's just going to be and it's already manifesting. So that's why another reason why I'm so excited. These congressional assemblies are just exciting to me because I see us being ourselves, And I could go on all day. You all know I can, but I won't. About how excited I am about us. So, are there any other questions, comments, wisdom? Islam, Empress. Islam, Empress.
I just wanted to thank the Empresses for all their hard work, and I know what it takes, and I appreciate all your time, your effort, and your love for our nation.
I second that.
Thank you.
Islam, gratitude.
Islam. Thank you.
Thank you.
Islam. Just for the record, Brother Howard would like to read a poem.
Yes, that was next on the list. We assist us. That's the title of the poem. Justice Howard, we yield the floor to thee. Islam. Justice Howard, are you there? Let's see. Just a moment. Let me make sure we can see Justice Howard. Justice, can you? Okay, we can hear you now, Justice Howard. We couldn't hear you before.
Islam. Peace and love to all the beautiful, beautiful, strong, intelligent, bright, shining star Moors.
Islam.
This poem is entitled "We Assist Us." To all my Mississippi brothers and sisters, they miss us. Assist us. Don't miss this. Kiss us. Kiss us. Don't resist this. List this. With the help from the angels, Hanael and Gabriel. Assist us. Mississippi, they miss us. With the sweet lands, with the sweet fruits in the field that feed the whole world, with a swirl and a twirl, like the Duke of Earl, with all the wonderful, wonderful mother's pearls. They miss us. We're all brothers and sisters. Islam.
Islam.
Beautiful. That was beautiful.
Very beautiful.
Beautiful.
It's awesome to hear us speaking of each other in those ways on the public record. I'm always so excited to post that because it is so the antithesis of the last era.
In truth, you all inspire me. All of you. All of you that I listen to. For some reason, early in the morning, it's just I heard this in my voice, in my head, and I just write it on paper. And you all inspire me, especially the patriarchs and the matriarchs, all of you. As they say in Latin, todos, all of you, my familias, my ancient people Moors, of all the ancient eras and bloodlines. I'm very honored.
Islam. Thank you for allowing your spirit to connect with ours and ours to connect with yours that way. That is so spiritual first, and then it manifests in this era, in this dimension. We love it. It's beautiful. Very beautiful. And you know, Moors, we deserve that from each other and to each other. We deserve it. We deserve to hear each other singing our praises, and we deserve to sing each other's praises. We deserve that. We deserve it. Giving honor where honor is due to each other. To me, we have arrived when we do that. We have arrived, and we just keep arriving and keep arriving and keep arriving onto the vast estate. Islam.
Great.
Islam, Empress.
Beautiful conference today.
Islam.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
as usual.
Indeed.
Okay, so I just have two questions. As far as what the delirium goes, do you recommend any particular weight with the paper?
I believe we use 20 pound or either 24 pound.
24 pound.
Okay, 24 pound. Yeah, we use the 24 pound natural cotton or linen paper or any other natural fibers.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Would you like to? Did you see the ones that we use? Because I can show you what they are. I'll show you.
Please.
Okay. Over. The ones that we use is this one here. Wait a minute. Can you see that, Empress?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. It's called G Natural Paper. It's 75% cotton and 25% linen.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's not too bad. It's about probably 8 or 9 or 10 sovereign credits. And one sovereign credit is equal to one gold-backed U.S. dollar. But you can get it from Amazon is where this came from. So, yes, indeed. Thank you for that question, Ingrid.
Okay, so one more question, please.
Yes.
Do you have knowledge, or do you plan to give us some tips on how to move in private with operating a business?
So, yes, we're going to be governing and giving that information and talking about things like that as we progress, because we have to do the same thing. So, yes.
So I'll be most appreciative, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yes, indeed. Islam. If I were to give a suggestion now for that, it would be, first, put all of your documentation on the public record by Moorish government affidavit in red and all lowercase letters, so that your business it starts out de jure and attached to the land, and then you do it in blue affidavit format with blue ink on Moorish government affidavit, and then you do your corporate paper. That's how that would be our suggestion, because that's how we're going to do ours. Our businesses are brought into fruition by court action allodially first, and then we do it corporately. Okay, and then we, just one moment. Are there any other questions, comments, wisdom of any?
Yeah, I just wanted to have you probably explore before you make that presentation possibly. How would we be able to, like, say if we had a service business and we needed to advertise? Usually, I think they would want to know if you have an EIN number, which most likely I think you would be getting one, if you don't already have one. Having to establish a bank account under the business name, that type of thing.
So, if you are establishing a business and you want to get an EIN, you want to do it first by Moorish government affidavit, and all of this can go together. You want to do a lien on the quote-unquote corporate IRS. You want to do, if you already have an EIN from previously, you want to lien that and then reclaim those same numbers, okay, or reclaim what would look like the same numbers, same sequence, same everything, but you're going to restate it by fiduciary document and state that these numbers are the numbers that belong to the Moorish state, not the dead state, but the living state. Okay, not the dead United States Corporation Company, but the living creditors state. Those same numbers can be used. Okay, but you got to lien the old ones, and you have to do a court action on the old EIN paperwork. So you're not, and that's how you do if you already have an EIN. If you don't have one, then you order one, but you order it using Moorish government, everything, same process for everything. A lien by court action, an affidavit stating that this is what we're commanding, this is what we are commanding and issuing to ourselves is an EIN number, and then what you can do is do a corporate document that says that you can even say requesting an EIN from the IRS in your state, your government. Okay, we like if I were to request an EIN from our government, because I wouldn't request it from anybody foreign, I would only request it from our government. Then it would be a request for an EIN, but at this point, you want to do it first by affidavit and then by a corporate document. But again, all parties involved must be leaned by court action first, so that they're not acting in some corporate capacity that they don't have. Okay. Now, what I've also been doing and looking at where EINs are concerned is any company out there that was corporate under that old system, I could literally look at their EIN numbers and choose one, lean it by court action, and then take that sequence of numbers and restate it and bring it in and originate it in our state. And use the same name or a different name. And when I say the same name, again, it's restated by us. We can use any of the EINs that were previously out there of companies because those EINs are unoccupied. So what you want to do, especially if the company is listed as inactive or dissolved or something like that in those fake records out there or those dead records out there, all those records are dead. So you can take that number and restate it. You can even restate active ones because they're not there. No one's there. That whole structure's done. So I would pick a one that's close to, if you want to do it that way, Or you can go through the process of commanding an EIN from the system, because again, it's our system. So there's 1,000,001 ways for us to be ourselves. The only way we can't be ourselves is if we're trying to be a dead citizen. 1,000,001 ways to do it. And then just put it on the public record. So.
Islam, beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Did you have an EIN previously in your sleep?
Yes, and I've been kind of have it sitting dormant until I figure out how to operate privately.
Just restate it.
I was actively
privately.
Using it. Yeah, I was actively using it up until maybe about a year or so ago, and then I've just been having it sitting dormant in a sense.
Take the fiduciary document is very important with regard to restating that EIN. Lean the old one so nobody uses it, and then use the new one. Activate the same sequence of numbers, but you're just restating them in your sovereign living state.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then any paperwork or any benefits or anything that you were getting or using, just recreate it in the proper state. You can, in other words, all you're doing is nationalizing the number. So if you were using it for a business and you had business letterhead, just slightly change the letterhead or the logo and put some red in the logo, and then then it becomes a national logo because that's what you call it. This is going to be a very smooth transition It's going to be very smooth, especially for those who were doing business beforehand, you know, who were doing things beforehand. But even those who weren't, it's still going to be a beautiful process. Very beautiful. You know, I think about my parents. My parents did some amazing things while they were in bondage, you know. I mean, I still don't even know how they did some of the things they did in bondage. 9 children, and they both quit jobs and started a ministry and actually made it work. For 40 years, made it work. And my mother was working at the VA, Veterans Administration, quote unquote, and my father worked at the post office, quote unquote. And with 9 mouths to feed, they each at different times came off the job. My mother came off the job. No, my father came off first, and then a couple of years later, my mother came off of her job to help my father with their ministry. And even in bondage, they just did some pretty amazing things. So, you know, this transition is going to be like that, just smooth, a smooth transition. We got this. We got this. We can self-govern. Just know the principle of restatement, of restating everything. With that principle, we can do whatever we want. Those periods of time back in history where they call it the Reconstruction and the Renaissance and all of that, that's all they were doing, is looking at the Moorish paintings and saying, okay, I'm going to be Bach or Beethoven or Da Vinci or whomever, and then they would pale out the painting, make the painting pale, or the music notes black. All we're doing is restating, restate. Let's just keep restating, forming in our own sovereign jurisdiction, on our land. So, Islam. Are there any other questions, comments, wisdom? I am so grateful. It can be in the chat. Justice Nat says red lowercase letter and then blue is in capital letters. Yes. Yes. And blue can actually be in capitis, diminuntio, minima also, which is the first letter capitalized and the next letters and the other letters like this. So establishing the private on the land would be red. And then public would be blue. And then corporate can be either blue or black for us. But it has to originate in our state. We have to, and we must lien and do a court action and send the fraud to Guantanamo Bay, to jail, because it's a debtor. So, and again, all we're doing is making chess moves. Chess move is knock them off the square with a lien and a court action and all of that, and then we put our original on the square. Period. And then we just, like chess, we take our time, we look, we say, okay, I need to do this. Empress, I love what you said about the number lied dormant for a while until you could know what to do with it. That is suggested highly. Anything more that we are saying, oh, I'm not sure really how to do that one. I know what I want to do, but I don't know. I'm not sure about the process. Just hold off for a minute and then move when you're sure. And even if you're not sure, but you have some idea, go ahead and move in the direction of. And the ancestral energies will come to your aid. We love our sovereign ancient jurisdiction. We love it. We will stay there. That is where we live. That is where we exist. And that's all there is. So With that being stated, are there any other questions, comments, wisdom? Islam. With that being stated, please, all presidents, that's anyone on this call, anyone who hears this who is a Moorish American national, and you've declared your nationality on the public record, and you want to do a 1 to 3 minute presidential testament of how far we've come and what and what you see for our nation. 1 to 3 minutes. Let's do it. Let's do a State of the Union. Because our union is actually with us, with each other. That's really what our State of the Union is. Islam. With that being stated, we will meet here again on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Peace and grand rising to this most honorable, most articulate, most competent, highly favored, wealthy, abundant, peaceful, judicial grand body. Islam.
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 Islam. Peace and grand rising.
Islam.
Islam. Peace and grand rising.
Thank you all.
Peace and love. Peace and love.
Grand rising, love and respect.
Islam.
Peace and love.
Salam.
Thank you.
Islam. Peace and love.
Islam.
Shalom.
We see you, Justice Atiba. We see you.
Islam.
Islam, great to see you. Great to behold.
Gratitude.
Islam, indeed.
When you on the countdown, Sister Light?
Huh? Yeah, I'm about to do it right now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Islam.